The agenda was amended with the following items. We have added the student union presentation for event services and operations to our guest announcements. In addition to that, we have added to immediate consideration the following items. That is vote to change Senate meeting times, and the second would be vote to see who can attend a meeting with Vice Chancellor Wilton. I will give you more information on that when the time comes. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Senator Rashid?
I move to accept the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yes. Senator Chen?
I move to add CFO onto item 6.
Is CFO Tony Doe here? Yeah, so chief officers are going to be doing their announcements every other week. This week we have chief legal officer, CCO, and chief accountability officer. Was there a need to have? Okay. And is CFO Tony Doe here today? He's not supposed to be coming in today, so I will talk to him after. If next time he wants to present, he can let me know ahead of time. Thank you. Other than that, the agenda is adopted. Moving on to our next agenda item, general public comments.
There's one.
Coming up. So public comment is for 3 minutes.
Hey guys, my name is Jack. I'm the State Board Treasurer of Copper. We are in the first few weeks of recruitment right now. So far we got around 30 volunteers signed up, so that's great. Also a big thing right now is we're working to get senators signed on to support the bill SB 350, which will get California to go 50% renewable energy by 2030. So right now everything's being passed around the table. If you can go ahead and read it, and if you want to sign it, please sign it. If you don't get a chance, please come talk to me, and then I'll totally give you the opportunity to sign it for you. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. Now we are moving on to our guest announcements. First, we have Associate Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, Joseph Greenwell, for 10 minutes and 5 minutes for questions.
So I'm just going to give some updates on some things that are happening in the ASUC students area that you may or may not be aware of. So there's a few things happening. One is I just finished my year, and in that year I've been talking to a lot of people and listening to a lot of people and doing a lot of evaluation regarding the organization itself. You're going to notice there hasn't been any reorg of any type that has happened in the ASUC students area. However, in looking at people and the people's positions and what they're doing and looking at that in the organization in totality, I've made a decision to do some title changes within the organization that represents what people are already doing and the work that they're doing and recognizing that. So there are 4 titles that got changed. So currently the structure, there is one Associate Dean of Students, which is David Surratt. I've actually named 2 additional people, Associate Dean of Students, in recognition of the complexity of the work that they're doing and also the seniority and how I utilize those teams. Those people are Kelsey Finn, so she will be Associate Dean of Students and Executive Director of the ASUC Student Union. That particular title change I did go in for the Student Union Board, which is part of the bylaws in order to get that approved. The other person is Tom Devlin, who is going to be currently the director of the Career Center and is now named the Associate Dean of Students and Executive Director of the Career Center. So both of those organizations are very complex. ASUC, in my opinion, being one of those, student union complex. So it recognizes the complexity of the work and the size of the operations, and it also recognizes how they are utilized within the organization. also gone from 2 assistant dean of students. So those assistant dean of students currently are Kira Bradley, who is assistant dean of students. And then she works a lot with the Bears at Go program. I'm overseeing that and a variety of other things. And then also the other assistant dean of students is Hallie Hunt, who is the assistant dean of students and the director of the Center for Student Conduct. In looking at the organization, and the complexity of the work, and other people doing similar types of complexities or more, I've named 2 additional people, assistant dean of students. So one is Sandra Bass. So she'll no longer just be director of the Public Service Center. She's assistant dean of students and director of the Public Service Center. The other person is Jamie Riley, and so he will be the director of the lead center, but also the assistant dean of students. To me, this kind of creates, what I'm trying to do is take an organization that was put together by other people, look at the organization and based on titles, these are just titles, and then making some decisions, and to some extent around recognition and equity within the organization. So those have gone effect, and I've gone through the proper approval channels, including the ASUC Student Union Board, in order to get support for those. The other thing that is changing a little bit, which you're not familiar with probably, because you don't know it existed, but in full transparency. So I have what's formerly called a senior leadership team. And so those are the people that meet with me every other week. So that includes my direct reports. When I first got here, it was only direct reports that were part of that team. I made a decision to expand that and move beyond reporting lines and having people there based on lens. And so that group is continuing to expand. That group is going to be renamed. It's going to be named the Dean Circle. You're going to hear a lot from me this year regarding distributed leadership and looking at and trying to move away from hierarchical approaches of leadership. I've been doing a lot of reflection on that and trying to figure out how to do that. The concept of the idea of the Dean Circle, a circle does not necessarily have hierarchy symbolically, and that concept is that group will be interchangeable. There will be core people part of that group, but then people will come in based on topic and expertise. And that any person within that circle might be the leader of that meeting. It's not just because I have the title that I do run those meetings. This is something new, to be honest, and something that we're trying to do in the organization around distributed leadership. So there's that. The other name change is happening. I used to host what was called the all-team meetings, and so the purpose of this was to inviting all of the professional employees. We invited actually student employees as well to meetings that started off monthly, they've gone quarterly due to feedback from staff, and to bring the entire ABC Dean of Students together. The purpose of that is to share information. To be honest, we just know each other as people as we work in our own little siloed environments and create a sense of community within the ABC Dean of Students. Share information, to welcome new people coming into the organization, and some staff development. I slowly expanded that group to move, you'll hear me using the word, we need to start moving beyond reporting lines in order to be effective in our work. And so I started inviting people that aren't part of student affairs or the ABC Dean of Students, including the Tang Center, Bio, Rec Sports Facility. Eventually I expanded out to E&I, and continue to expand that out. So we're rebranding that, so it's no longer the ABC Dean of Students all-team meeting, but they will now be our student life community meetings, and we'll continue to meet quarterly. The first meeting is at the end of September, and actually in that meeting I'm having the group decide what they want in those meetings and how that format should be, what the topic should be as we're moving forward, and with the focus being on the enhancement of student life at UC Berkeley and working together. So that's something that is new within what we're doing. The other thing you're going to hear a lot from me is you hear already, you've heard it since the day I got here, about enhancing the student experience. You're going to also hear the student and professional employee experience at UC Berkeley. It's my opinion, I've done a lot of reflection, it's my opinion that many of our employees, I'll speak for ABCD students, have similar experiences to students coming into this environment. It's also for employees a competitive environment. We're focused on resources. It's also an environment that's siloed and difficult and large and difficult to create a sense of community as employees. So in a lot of ways, I think there's a lot of parallels to the employee experience here at UC Berkeley as students have as well. Even around mental wellness and stress and being able to balance. So I've been thinking about that a lot and figuring out how to be able to continue to enhance the student experience and how to figure out our employees and the experience that they're having. So we're actually, the first initiative coming out is we're actually looking at the onboarding process for the ABCD students and to have a similar onboarding process for all people and experience that are coming into the organization. We have to do a better job of onboarding our new students through CALSO and getting their bearings than we do our professional employees. And so that will be something that you'll hear more about. If you have interest in working and collaborating with, that would be great as well. And there will be other things coming out from that. The other thing that's happening, the posting went up just 2 days ago. We're hiring a project manager. This is in collaboration with student affairs and academic affairs. So particularly with the undergraduate initiative, you'll be hearing things about the undergraduate initiative. It's not just about what's happening in the classroom experience, but also talking about the co-curricular experience and what happens outside of the classroom with the introduction of new students to the university being a key component of that. So we're looking at a different model than what is currently in place with CALSO being a summer program, and we're actually looking at a welcome week model where students will come in a little earlier than what they currently do, and to actually just expand getting their bearings with more activities happening earlier in the year in that respect. This is a concept. There is nothing's really been done around it. The sense is this is a big project, and so there has been money that's been funded through the Vice Chancellor for Undergraduate Education for a project manager to assist not in dictating what the project is, but actually just facilitating and shepherding the process to an end. And that person will be reporting to me since CALSO and getting their bearings through NSS is part of the ABCD students team. So that position has been posted and will hopefully be put in place. That person will be going out and speaking to all types of constituents and regarding this and helping pull information and so forth, students included, clearly, since it is involving students. But you will be seeing more about that in the times to come in that respect. And just in light of time, I think I'll leave my comments there for now. Oh, other than Friday is the last chance to get some bow ties I own. If you didn't follow me on social media, so make sure you get your gifts in. You might get dinner with me or something like that. Employees for you all too, Fridays. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes, thank you again for coming in.
Yes.
So I had a question about the youth circle.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you were planning to include students in that discussion area as well.
Sure. At the time, no. And because it's really around kind of talking about, it's been interesting. So I want to make sure, so bringing students in, and don't take this, I'm being truly transparent here with any disrespect. It does bring a unique dynamic, it changes dynamics, right? Just like when you bring professionals into a student space, it changes dynamic. So I want to respect that space and dynamic. Because professionals may not feel as comfortable speaking their minds fully in front of a student, not knowing what that student is going to do. In the same way that you as students may not feel as comfortable speaking fully your minds if a professional is in the room in that respect. So I want to respect that space, okay? With that said, there are a lot of opportunities to dialogue and regarding the work and the discussions that are happening, really if it's happening and impacting students. I'm going to be meeting regularly with Uranus. I'm going to be meeting regularly with Jenna. I'm happy, I've talked to Uranus about meeting with the execs. I'm happy to you to come here and share information, be as transparent as possible in the time that's allotted. I can talk for hours. If things come up for you, if you hear things that are happening, rumor mill, we do this wonderful thing, part of our student-led communities. I call it word on the street, and so it's like word on the street is blah, 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 blah. And whatever the rumor is, I'd rather you come to me directly and ask me point blank than to make assumptions and continue the rumors. So I think as we're getting to know each other and kind of how we work together, I'm pretty transparent. I'm happy to talk about any dialogue in any kind of space. I'm invited.
Senator Mara?
Quick question. Is there a corresponding salary change that is going with the title changes?
Sure. So there's two separate things happening. So no, it's not corresponding with the titles. The titles are within themselves. I am looking at salaries globally within the organization in order to make sure around equity and based on other, not just within my ASUC students, but other similar positions and within the university and the complexities of the work that they're doing within the classifications that those people work in. So there will be some adjustments, and I will go through the proper channels as far as recommendation for anything within the ASUC student union and putting that through the board. And then regarding anyone outside of that, I'll go through the proper channels as well and putting that forward too. But those are two separate pieces. The titles are separate from salary. They're not connected.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dean Brown.
Thank you.
Next up, we have the Student Union Event Services and Operations for 10 minutes and 5 minutes for questions.
Excited people! have Marcy Kaiser and Gabriella. She's not here today with Graphs, right? Because Graphs, and they're in event services. They're people you'll be dealing with. Jason Hurley was on our staff, but he's no longer with us as of Friday. So we'll be hiring for that position in the future. Hans Wyckoff, he's the Monica and Matt and Blaine supervisor, and Sheree Pinero and her team of Logan and Jeff. Oh, I just had to let them go home, and Sheree had to do a Bible study. We just had to let everyone just kind of recharge a little bit. They're working really hard to get everything working well, and it was just time to just cut the cord and let everyone just chill. So, but they are really, because we're student-centered. Our motto is students first. So if you have something that you want to change or ask me questions, find us. We're usually in the building. We can help you. We're there for you. We'll try to make things happen, or I'll explain to you why it can't happen. So does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? Yes, Senator Joe?
Just a point of clarification. You mentioned that the building will be 24 hours in November.
Yes.
Okay, so is that a change from before, or just resolving that?
Well, because the building really officially doesn't open until January.
Okay.
So we're going to open for 24/7, but after Thanksgiving for finals, and just keep going straightforward. Because we need to really take some time to hire to get the 24-hour student that wants to work overnight. And we just couldn't do that for now, and we just really tried to cut back on our budget so we could be a little more sound. Yeah, so we want the whole building to be open. So it's really, this was an operational decision, but I think it's the right one.
Senator Prasad?
Thank you all for coming in. My question is, are sales professions on track for the textbooks and vendors?
I have to say, we can't say for Charles because we have really only been open for like 2 hours here and there. So I think we come back. I think we come back in a rotation of 4 weeks. I can answer that question better. I know for the Cal Student Store, we've had some amazing days, but I think I need more data on this last 2 weeks to really know if we're really on track overall. But based on the business plan that we put forward, we really think we will be on track. Having to open on August 17th for the Cal Student Store was extremely important for us to meet our profit-driven goals. So if we didn't open on the 17th, we wouldn't have opened at all for the Cal Student Store in that area probably until October. So we did everything we can to get open on the 17th to make sure we can meet those goals. Unless you want to say anything else.
No, I completely agree. I mean, worked really hard to get open, and there's a lot of challenges, but we made it through good stuff. We're looking to review, improve, any suggestions, anytime. Step in, find ways to make our managers or any suggestions.
Mayor, also, do you want to add to that as of a few days ago, EDA students actually officially became the game day sales merchandiser for Cal Athletics. So you'll actually see Cal Student Store employees selling merchandise and game day gear at the stadium and also at Health Affiliate during game days for all sports. And then additionally, they'll be promoted as the game day provider, so we'll have traffic driven to the MLK site a lot more than we did before. So.
And I would say for folks that you can't find your books or things happen in the bookstore where you don't title them available, I think you need to find Patrick in the Cal Student Store. If there's people here complaining, please bring those to him immediately so we can solve the problem. Because we can't solve the problem 3 weeks from now, but we can solve the problem today. And I think the majority of the problems are people going up to the wrong store. And they just need to go to the store on campus. So.
Any other questions? Thank you, Student Union.
Thank you so much for your time.
Next up, we have Roxanne, who will be doing a 20-minute presentation and 10 minutes for questions. So, can I start? Hi everyone, my name is Roxanne. I am in my final semester at Cal. I'm studying I'm studying econ and environmental econ policy and global poverty and practice, and I'm here to talk to all of you about conflict minerals in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and we'll see that there's a relevance to why I'm talking about this here. Just by a show of hands, who knows a little bit about conflict minerals? Okay, cool. So we'll be learning together. Alright, next slide please. So just to give a little bit of an overview and outline of what I'll be talking about, I'm just going to do a quick background on the Democratic Republic of Congo and its history. It's a very complicated country, so I'm not going into much detail, but just to give us an understanding. Introduction to what conflict minerals are, how they contribute to conflicts and what they're linked to. The conflict mineral business university nexus, as you can see, the university means there's a link to us, and then what have we done and where are we going, and why I'm here talking to all of you. Next slide, please. Okay, just to get us geographically oriented, this is Congo. It's one of the largest countries in sub-Saharan Africa. The specific conflict region in Congo is Eastern Congo, near the border of Rwanda and Burundi. I like putting images to make us kind of know where we are, so this is what we're talking about. Next slide. Okay, so a brief history of a very complicated country. So for more than a century, the DRC has been plagued by regional conflict and a deadly scramble for its vast natural resources. And the greed for Congo's natural resources has been a principal driver of atrocities and conflict throughout its tortured history for over 150 years of colonial exploitation, starting with extraction of rubber by Belgians to exploitation of its mineral resources today. As you can imagine, 150 years of exploitation sets up a society with very little infrastructure, rule of law, justice, accountability, or security. And there's a lot of threat to civilians who are faced with lots of corruption and a large amount of instability and violence in the region. So in Eastern Congo today specifically, these mineral resources are financing multiple armed groups, many of whom use mass rape as a deliberate strategy to intimidate and control local populations and secure control of mines, trading routes, and other strategic areas. So now we're looking at more of the end of the timeline. Next slide, please. So, from 1996 to the present, there is a large war in Eastern Congo that began in the early 1990s, and it continues to this day. It technically ended in 2003, but there's still quite a lot of violence in the region. And again, I'm not going to go into so much detail of its history, and a lot of it is kind of tied to the Rwandan genocide spilling over into Congo. But most of it is around this fight for control of its very mineral-rich region. And this turned into a full-fledged conflict until 2003, involving 9 African nations and 20 rebel groups. Next slide, please. So, why is this important? The conflict in Congo is one that makes me very sad, obviously because it's very depressing, but also because very few people know about it, despite the magnitude of what it's led to. By 2008, it had killed 5.4 million people. It's the deadliest conflict since World War II, largely because of violence, but also hunger and poverty. It's displaced over 2 million people. It's the home to the most expensive and ineffective UN peacekeeping mission. It ranked the lowest on the Human Development Index in 2012. The life expectancy at birth is 42 years old. That is very, very low. Considered to be the world's most dangerous place to be a woman, because as I said, they use mass rape as a method for just completely destroying the fabric of communities and their psychology. One of the countries where 20% of women children die before the age of 5. And key facts about its mineral industry now. In 2010, it was 25% of its GDP. It's a huge, huge aspect of their economy. And the mining sector is still growing, and it makes up a huge portion of its exports. So now we kind of have an idea of the country we're looking at and the context that we're looking at. Next slide, please. Now, what exactly are conflict minerals? By now you can imagine you see the link and connection from what I told you about its history. Congo has some of the most mineral-rich mines in the entire world. And these minerals are found around the mines of the DRC are highly sought after today because of their use in everyday tech products that we all use. Our cell phones, our laptops, automobiles, all our different gadgets. And people, the businesses, tend to take advantage of the weak governance control in these areas, and rebel army groups and militias have engaged in a vicious fight to control these mines, which are now a multi-million-dollar business. This is all at the expense of local communities who are put to work under the threat of violence. Next slide, please. The main minerals in the Congo that go into these electronics and also into our jewelry are the 3 T's in G: tantalum, tin, tungsten, and gold. These minerals are in high demand because of the wide array of uses they have within circuit boards and phones and wiring in our computers. So, as you can see, tin is the 6th largest, Congo is the 6th largest producer, tantalum is a large amount of global production, tungsten less, and gold less than 1%, but it has the highest payout for miners and smugglers. Next slide, please. So, getting closer to the link to us. There's always a supply chain and transaction and in our globalized economy. The mining starts in the artisanal mines in eastern Congo, which are not recognized or regulated by the Congolese government and largely operated by these rebel groups. And then they get smuggled through the borders of Rwanda and Uganda in trading and exports. And then they go all over the world to different smelting sites all throughout Asia and Eastern Asia. And they're mixed with non-conflict minerals. And then after that, they go to wholesalers and the finished products that we all use and love in our everyday lives. So, next slide, please. Some of the things that this issue, as I said, is not well known about, but it's starting to gain traction because quite a lot of activism and partnership is happening across student coalitions, nonprofits, trying to make business pay attention. So there is been some progress. In the government, the Dodd-Frank Act has a section 1502 on conflict minerals, which specifically requires electronic companies to report if any of their products contain them. There's different sorts of initiatives that are happening. And then on the consumer side, the one I'm kind of talking about with all of you, since we're students at a university, is this initiative called the Conflict-Free Campus Initiative. Next slide, please. So, what is the SCI? Why am I talking about it? I kind of already introduced myself. Another aspect of who I am is I've been working for the past 3 years on this initiative, the Conflict-Free Campus Initiative, which is led by a human rights nonprofit centered at the Center for American Progress in DC called the Enough Project. And they do a lot of advocacy and policy work across the board with business and other grassroots activists and students. And the reason why we should care is because we're at the end of a supply chain that contributes to mass atrocities in a country that's been ravaged by war and exploitation for over 150 years. It's one of the most forgotten issues. And we're using it in our every single day lives. We all have cell phones, I imagine, and computers, we're students. So this initiative, the Conflict-Free Campus Initiative, draws on the power of student leadership and activism to try and bring about peace in Congo. By no means is the end of the trade in conflict minerals going to end the conflict in Congo, but it helps to remove one economic arm of it that keeps financing conflict, so that it kind of helps to set up the space for more sustainable reform and comprehensive reform in their security sector. So by encouraging university officials and stakeholders who are large purchasers of electronics and powerful spokespersons to commit to measures that pressure electronics companies to responsibly invest in Congo's mineral sector, students can voice their demand for conflict-free products in Congo. It is one step in a very, very, very long process towards sustainable peace. It's hard to reverse 150 years of exploitation, but the first step needs to be taken. Next slide, please. So, as I said, I've been working on this for a few years. I was the national organizer for the organization during my junior year and worked with different regional organizers. And we've come a long way. There's over 150 schools that are part of the initiative. 17 schools have actually so far passed some form of resolution. I mentioned that Stanford was one of the first, so we need to catch up. Actually, a few years ago, my sophomore year at ASUC, we also passed a resolution, symbolic recognition of the conflict with help from DJ. Beyond just the campus level, there's been actually attention drawn to the electronics industry. Brian Kurzanich, the CEO of Intel, because of a lot of student pressure and organizations working towards bringing the issue to the forefront of their conscience, is working on making all of its microprocessors fully conflict-free by 2016 with a very highly developed tracing, auditing, and certification system. They're not pulling out of Congo because that's not solving the problem. As I said, it makes up 25% of their GDP, but they're helping to regulate it to make sure that the minerals they use are not helping to fuel conflicts, but are actually from conflict-free mines. And he spoke out about this at a large electronics conference and is trying to bring more companies in. And we have like a company ranking report, so it's gaining traction. And there's been a lot of different campaigns to raise awareness across different campuses. So where can we go from here? This is why I'm talking to all of you, and I talked to Lavanya about this just to bring this issue forward and get all of your advice, because you guys are the leaders of this campus. And so I was thinking, it'd be cool. We've done the student government resolution. It would be really cool if we could get to the next step of maybe getting an administrative level conflict-free resolution passed. And in the long run, a UC-wide. That would be incredibly, incredibly powerful and send a very strong statement. So how can we do this? Well, there's several different options. And the organization that I work with, the Enough Project, has a lot of different sample resolutions. They work a lot with students on helping them get through these levels. But there's the strongest one and the hardest one to achieve is a procurement policy. This one is more binding, and it basically gets the university administration to commit. There's currently no conflict-free anything out right now besides microprocessors, but it's committing that when things become conflict-free, they will commit to purchasing conflict-free electronics and other stuff, because we obviously, as universities, have many ties with electronics companies, and in our, it's in all of our libraries and our labs. The second strongest is a shareholder resolution, and the third is more symbolic but still nonetheless strong as a general support statement where a university says, we recognize this issue exists and we are in support of companies working more towards making their supply chains conflict-free. So this is where you all come in, because I need your help and support, and I figured you'd be the best place to start in trying to figure out how to get to the next level. So next slide, please. I think I got through that way faster than 20 minutes. But questions, you can hit it at me. Thank you so much for your time. Senator Chug?
Can you email us a copy of the resolutions that the Enough Project might suggest for a campus like ours?
Absolutely, yes. I'll send it to, who should I send it to?
You can forward that to me, I can forward it to us.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Senator Cho?
Hey, thanks for coming in. I don't think this is working.
I can hear you.
All right, cool. So can you talk a little bit more about this option where asking campus to purchase the conflict-free electronics, how that might go about in terms of if those products might not be the right choice for us in terms of like specifications, and how you go about ensuring that the products that we buy are, I guess, conflict-free, but also useful.
Yeah. Well, the goal and the hope is that in this kind of loop of pressure, we're eventually, and this is in the long run future, it's not something that's going to happen overnight, but the hope is that the computers and cell phones that we are using and sourcing from these different companies are going to become conflict-free eventually. Or maybe the campus could supply from, well, Apple's actually doing a really good job relative to other companies, and I know we have a lot of Apple products here. But it's more of a symbolic push telling companies to make the products that they're right now making, but make them conflict-free certified.
So it's more of a long run movement for the strongest option, and even if it starts with the weaker just statement of support now and slowly makes its way to changing our purchasing and investment patterns in the long run when we realize and recognize which different companies have made progress in their supply chains, then I think it's still a good first step.
Senator Sheedy?
I just have a quick question of what percent of the mines right now are conflict-free versus ones that are controlled by these groups that are necessarily rebel groups that are doing such harm to the country?
That is a really good question that I don't know the specific percentage answer to, but in the eastern, there's mines all over Congo. It's mostly in the eastern region where there's the most violence and the most mines controlled by rebel groups. I think there are more conflict mines than conflict-free mines, but I don't know the exact percentage. I can look that up and send it along in the email with sample resolutions. That's it, yeah.
Senator Morrow?
Yeah, thank you for coming in. I'm wondering if you have heard of any schools, like student governments trying to think about this year, what we can do, having a procurement policy and then for sales they make at their own student stores and stuff.
That's a really good question. I don't think so. I think the only school right now out of the 17 that's gotten to the procurement level, and I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm pretty sure is the University of Pennsylvania. The majority of the rest of the schools that have passed anything were mostly statements of support. Stanford did the shareholder resolution. But that's, I don't know, but I think that's a really good point because at least it's the beginning. It's just a small fraction of the entire university, but at least in the student store. But I imagine not, because there's only one school that's really done the procurement, reached that level. It's very hard.
Any other questions? Thank you, Roxanne.
Thanks, Lauren.
Next up, we have executive officer reports. First up, we have President Dejean for 5 minutes and 5 minutes for questions.
A new thing that I just found out was the SLC, I don't know if you all know, but for the last 3 years, SLC has been open for 24/7, beginning with, I think it was like mid-October. It started with being open, or closing at 5 p.m., extending to 6 p.m., 10 p.m., 24/7. That was based off of CACSID grant that was written in 2012, for 2012 academic year, 2013-2014 academic year, which means it expired this year, and the SLC currently will not be open for 24/7 due to the expiration of the CACSID grant. And so I literally found this out like 30 minutes ago. And so I was brainstorming options we have, and so what I think I'm gonna do is try to reach out to a So the CACSA grant background is, it was $130,000 over 3 years, which is roughly $45,000, and that paid for the person that would sit in front of the door that would check IDs. Since we don't have that, can't be opened. So we're trying to fundraise the $22,500 for the fall semester, and then hopefully put in a reoccurring CACSA grant so we don't have to worry about it for future years. That will kick in the spring. So if you have questions about that, or if you want to get involved in that, let me know. Whether that's like writing the CACSA grant or whatever. I don't have too much info on it because I literally just read about it now. But yeah, that's all of my updates. So if you have questions, I'm sorry about it.
Any questions? Thank you, President Vision. No worries. Next up, we have External Affairs Vice President Naveed. 5 minutes and 5 minutes for questions.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hope you're having a nice night. Okay, so just a few updates. Students of Color Conference. We are working on creating the committee right now. We've reached out to a lot of committee members. I know we reached out to a lot of senators as well. So you'll be getting emails regarding that soon if you haven't already. We're going to be having a standing meeting tomorrow with Student Union Board to talk about like hotels, events, graphic designs, and whatnot. And so I can give you more details once we have that meeting regarding the logistics of what's going to be happening, especially in regards to like, the booking of a lot of rooms on campus and whatnot. We're also going to be releasing workshop applications in the next coming week once we get our graphics in order. And I really encourage you all to encourage your constituents to really work on workshops and create some ideas and turn into applications so that we can have a diverse amount of workshops to present at the conference. We will also be having performance applications as well. So in the conference itself, it's not just workshops, there's also going to be a lot of performance sections as well. So if you are part of any groups that specialize in that or know of any that would love to perform at the SALT conference, please have them apply as well. The second thing that we are working on is city council just in general. So I'm starting to have my some meetings with a lot of city council members. And those will be happening next week actually, so they're all scheduled. I'll be bringing up GLA and any updates regarding that. In regards to GLA, September 29th is when we're going to be having, well not we, but City Council is going to be having the agenda item on that day, and we will be organizing in regards to that. We'll be receiving some emails in the next coming days in terms of what exactly we will be doing, like strategizing and whatnot. So if there is any gap in information, please contact me, please email me. You can text me, whatever you want to do, just to make sure that we're all on the same page in regards to this, because we don't want to look disunited when we go to City Council. The third thing that we did actually this past weekend was our staff retreat. Yay! So that was wonderful. And a scavenger hunt. That was fun. Well, it's not how I organized it. So we basically have our staff in order. They've got all the information that they need, and things are starting to happen. And I think that's pretty much it. Actually, next week there's also going to be a UCSA board retreat at Davis. So, in case you all don't know, me and my two members of my staff, the organizing director, community organizing director, and the legislative director, go to these staff meetings every month or so. And we represent Berkeley on different committees in regards to UC system-wide issues. And there's a whole bunch of committees and whatnot. So the agenda is usually up. It should be up by now. And so if there are any issues that you all want to address as well, then please feel free to contact me regarding that, and I'll make sure to relay that at the retreat next weekend. So yeah. Oh, one more thing. Sorry. In regards to the office, we actually have a few positions that need to be filled. Local, I can go into those later, but I would appreciate it actually if you all, we're going to be releasing the application soon and we'll be sending the emails to you, but if you could all please reach out to your constituents and please ask them to apply for these positions, because it's really crucial that we have people in them right now, because right now, like, you know, we're kind of trying to handle like the things that aren't exactly filled in, but it's best for the office if we have it completely filled out. Yeah, that's it. Any questions?
Senator Williams? Hi, thanks for coming in. You mentioned that you'd be setting out information regarding the September 29th like, city council meeting. Who are you including in that? Is it just like senators or is it other members of the community? Like, I know Cal Greeks has like had a lot to do with pushing for the bill reform. I'm assuming DSC has done a lot too. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, I think last year Caitlin also had like a lot of like communication with your community as well as the co-op community. And so they kind of stopped at that, like, you know, before the summer came in. And so yes, those emails will not just be sent to Senate, it's going to be sent out to all the important constituencies. And if, I mean, like, you'll be able to see who I sent it to, so if you think that I've missed a community, then please tell me. Like, that would be helpful. Yeah.
Senator Adrianson?
Hey Miriam, thanks for coming. Any updates on the public financing ordinance at City Council?
No, I don't have updates on that right now.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Academic Affairs Vice President, Chief of Staff, Sarah Griffith.
Was bounced in the email.
and scholarships. So those are going to, I would estimate, we're probably going to reach out to you, I would say, on the 13th or 14th, because we'll have the all-staff retreat, and then with the scholarships opening up, expect an email around those times for that.
Thank you, Sarah. Next up, we have student advocate, Leah Bond.
Hi everyone. A couple announcements before I dive in. First of all, it's Financial Wellness Week. I hope you all have been enjoying the events. Our office has been working with Senator Lou and other folks to put on some really exciting events during the week, so I encourage you to keep advertising about that on Facebook and attending yourselves. SO is recruiting, so if you all have constituents who are interested in joining us, please let them know. Our first info session is tomorrow night. It's in 255 ML, and then our second one's going to be on Tuesday. That's going to be in 259 ML. Both are at 7 o'clock, and there's a Facebook event, and there are cover photos, and y'all welcome to share this. And then finally, so when I was a sophomore, and then last year we also had a representative, SAO had a student on the CERC Student Risk Subcommittee. We are scrambling to find someone in our office. No one is available to attend the meeting, so I thought I would kind of like give you all the opportunity. If you are interested, if you know someone who's interested, basically, this is a committee that assesses student risk. Specifically, they were talking about alcohol. When I was a sophomore, I was on it. We were talking about how do we make sure that students are getting proper alcohol education, that we're not saying don't drink, but we're saying drink safely, be safe about your behavior, stuff like that. So if any of you are interested, I think this would probably have to go through Melissa as well, but please do come talk to me because we literally have no one in our office available, and Andrew Goldblatt has been kind of poking us for a while trying to find someone. So for SAO, we currently have 25 open cases as the semester has begun. We've got 8 academic, 5 conduct, 11 financial aid, and 2 grievance cases. In terms of division-specific work, the academic division, last year we were working on emergency testing procedure stuff. We were doing a lot of surveys, a lot of talking to students, things like that. We are aiming to finally wrap that up this year. Our academic division has been in talks a lot with the Student Information Services folks and people in that realm. They're taking a lot of our reports very seriously, so we're hoping to wrap that project up soon and get some sort of recommendation or some sort of report to administrators basically in that realm. For conduct, one thing we're working on, we're hoping to meet with David Surratt to talk about residential accommodations for students who are on interim suspensions. They're immediately kicked out of their housing, and they have no place to go oftentimes, so we're trying to figure out, is there some sort of resource that Berkeley can offer? Can we team up with a local hotel? Can we team up with something of that sort where we can make sure the students are not basically without a home immediately? Conduct and financial aid together are working on thinking about when a student has a conduct violation, they're found responsible, they have a large fine, how can we work on making sure that they can pay back that fine, but maybe break it down into several payments. So that's a new project we're looking at, we're kind of curious about, we're kind of thinking about it. So there's nothing set in stone yet, but that's a really interesting cross-divisional project we're thinking about. Financial aid also submitted a phenomenal report to the Student Information Services folks, specifically about financial aid and billing. Again, if you'd like to take a look at that one or the academic one we submitted, I'm happy to put you in touch with our directors who wrote them. We are excited, we're being taken pretty seriously by these folks. They're really looking into how they can implement a lot of the changes we've recommended. So for us, it's very exciting, and we're happy to talk about that more offline. For grievance, we're starting to look into the possibility of being part of a revamping training. We're looking at a 2-part approach there. First, talking to students, seeing what needs that aren't being met for them. Also talking to faculty, saying, what do you want to see, what aren't you getting? Just to see if we can kind of be a part of pushing that forward. I know that's been a big conversation, not only at Berkeley, but at the ACY level, so we're hoping to get involved there. And then finally for grievance, So some of you might know we started our educational and outreach efforts to Greek life and Greek organizations last year. We give presentations strictly on policy. We're not consent training, we're not bystander training. We're simply saying, here's what the policy states, and here are the resources available to you. So we're hoping to actually expand that into the co-op community. We've been put in touch with Leah Robinson, so we're going to get the ball rolling on that. These presentations have been a huge success in the Greek and athletics community, so we're really excited to hopefully partner up with co-ops. I know some of you are involved in co-ops, so it would be great also to chat offline and see how we can maybe pilot a few presentations. And in terms of my meetings this week, none of my committees have met yet. We're slowly getting back in the year, I guess, for the school year. Both Selena, my chief of staff, and I, and our conduct director were part of the Center for Student Conduct search committee for a new conduct specialist. There's been a lot of rearranging in that office. We were part of the hiring process. We were in a couple of interviews. Unfortunately, it was hard because not one of us could be at every single interview, so they have all of our notes. They kind of have our thoughts on these interviews. The candidates were strong. I really like them. Even the least strong one I thought was a good fit. So hopefully we'll have some exciting news there soon. We met with the independent hearing officer, Lee Maranta. He's the one that runs administrative or panel hearings for conduct situations. Just caught up with him. Not much to report back there. And then I had a meeting with the Dean of Undergraduate Studies, Bob Jacobson. We kind of talked about how our office can be advisors to them. We're hoping to actually meet with their academic advisors, offer our services, give them our information. We're hoping to present to all of them one day soon, and make sure that they can refer students to us. So we're expanding in that way. He's also asked us to work on a couple projects in terms of student feedback, so I may be kind of asking you all in the coming weeks some things to maybe think about and get back to us about. And finally, the UCY Task Force for Curriculum Education kind of sprung a meeting on us this Monday. Neither Selena nor I could make it because of class and other requirements and meetings. So I am in touch with Avi, the student regent for the year. I'm in touch with Savannah, the students on the task force. They would like us to work a little bit on filtering of questions and how to have hearings that are thorough but trauma-informed. So I'll be working with them. We have really, really quick turnarounds, unfortunately, but I'm hoping that in the coming weeks I can actually report to them what this model is going to look like, and I really hope it's good news, but we'll see. So that's it for now for me, so I'm happy to answer any questions y'all may have. Any questions? Thank you, Leah. Thank you.
We have myself, and so I'll be real quick about this. Last Wednesday, I think I might have briefly mentioned this, before Senate, I had a meeting with John Scroggs, Gaben Harden, and from the student union regarding the MLK basement. So that conversation was talking about, well, what is the process going to look like? Let's be happy and assume that MLK basement is under the ASUC jurisdiction and that we have allocation in the building. Now that we have that, what does it look like? What does the timeline look like? Who gets access to that area? And so it was purely a discussion on how we want to move forward. We were looking, you will get a bill coming out of the EVP office from me regarding a committee that will be serving as pretty much this type of committee or a steering committee going through the allocation process. That bill will show you that technically the EVP has full jurisdiction over who goes into ASUC's spaces, which is MLK basement. But we do want to try to do a committee process where you have at least 7 members sitting on it so that process can be fair. That bill will go through next week. Let me know if you have any questions or ideas about that. I had my senior staff meeting last Thursday, and so that was the first time all of our department directors came together. We are going to have our all-staff meeting next Saturday on September 12th. And so we were really preparing on what are those topics and agendas that we want to be looking at, what are the goals of each department over the course of the year. Specifically, one of our departments, the internship program. You've already seen a lot of information on that on social media. Please let everyone know that internship program will be closing up their applications this Friday. And so for senators, if you want interns, please fill out the form that Anita, I believe, has emailed to all of you. Raise your hand if you did not get that email. Awesome. So fill out that form if you want interns. It's going to make it a lot messier if you forget to do that. Also, if you are interested in helping with interviews, this is a huge process, the internship program. addition to that, we pretty much we had the student union board retreat, so your Darnell's mentioned that a little bit. It was all day on Friday. It was really a full day of just looking at what are our goals for the year, reviewing past contracts, past MOUs, so that we have a working history. Kind of like your SLI, but for the student union. Any questions? Yes.
Hi, Claudia, thank you. I just have a quick question for interns. Are we allowed to apply to have interns next semester as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So that will open up in January. Again, interviews will happen sometime in probably the beginning of February. Usually we have a lot smaller of an applicant pool during the second semester, but we still have that option. Senator Reeves?
If we hire interns through the program this semester, can we just keep them on? Because like, what if they don't want to do decal again?
They don't do the decal again.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same decal every semester.
I guess I'm just confused because I thought it was a year-long program.
It is, so that's where it gets a little bit, of a gray area. I would recommend that if your interns are happy, they should definitely stay in your office for the full year. That is pretty much that deal when they sign up as interns. It's a year, but we just don't have a decal program that last 2 semesters. Senator Kim. I'm going to go ahead and say no. If there is someone that you really, really want to interview, that probably means you already know them mildly, and I don't know the situation here, but it's going to be really difficult for us to coordinate having to match people for interviews. If you're able to just talk with them offline, that would probably be best. Any other questions? Awesome. Moving on to ASUC official reports. First up, we have Attorney General Alec Clement.
He left like 20, 30 minutes ago. He was doing it.
Next, we have Chief Communications Officer Chloe.
Hi everyone. The main things we worked on this week were organizing Palapalooza. So thank you for everyone who came today to help out. It was a lot of great help since I wasn't there for a majority of the time. So we still have a lot of planners left over. We got a lot today, but we have a ton left. So the plan for distributing those, Joe and I were thinking that we would contact Res Hall and see if we can have them give it to the RAs in all the units and then have them distribute it to all the students in the dorms. So that's one way we're going to work on handing them out. And then also for tabling during September, we'll probably try and give out like 1 to 2 boxes a day or even more if we can. So yeah, definitely throughout September we're going to try and finish all the planners. So office hours and tabling, I think you all got my email last week about it. I know there might have been some confusion, so if you want to ask me questions after I'm done with the report, I'll be happy to answer them. For all the other outreach stuff, since it was just the beginning of the semester, I was in charge of that, but we have an outreach director, her name is Scarlett, so I just wanted to let you know if you receive any emails the next time about office hours and tabling, those will be from her, so you can ask her questions starting in like middle of September. Our department had an all-staff meeting on Sunday, so we did project planning and talked about outreach events and getting a couple newsletters out during September, and also the live stream, which we have working right now. So yeah, we're just working on getting the glass displays in the 4 main buildings on campus filled with ASUC information, just so, just like I mentioned last week, so people passing by can see like the Senate agenda or when your office hours are, things like that, just because it's the most accessible thing. And yeah, just planning events for this semester so we can interact with students more. Any questions? Senator Reigns?
It's more of a comment. So for the to pass out the planners and the room. So like how capitalism is upstairs and like senators are upstairs passing out. Like a lot of like folks are probably like down the steps. So a lot of folks are probably gonna get it. So I think that we can like outreach to those folks like, oh yeah, that's me, PhD. I don't know who else folks are down there, but when I was down there like once or twice, I gave like some of my constituents some planners and agendas and they were like,
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. I was gonna say also if you guys have any like specific people you want to get them to, you can definitely like go grab a box at any time, just let me know and you can go, I can help you get a box and take it to anyone you want. We want like to reach as many people as possible. That's a good idea. Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to bring up Attorney General Ali Clement.
Hello. Very snatching meeting today. Really normal. I got back last week. My office is just switching with our staff. We set a meeting time, so I'm really happy to start working with my staff now. We're continuing the same projects. With the company, we are planning a retreat in the upcoming month or so. At which we will set the kind of agenda for the year on what projects we want to work with. But other than that, there are no other major updates. Okay.
Questions? Thank you, Ali. Next up, we have Chief Accountability Officer, Suji Banerjee.
Okay, good evening everyone. Hope you all are well. Alright, so first up, everyone was present for Senate and committee last week and this week, so yay, perfect attendance. Alright, so also thank you to those senators for notifying me about future upcoming absences like early on in the game. That just avoids a lot of miscommunication and we can all just work together and plan ahead as a result, so that's really great. The request form is on Calling and all the attendance procedures have already been sent out to you in a previous email. If you're confused about any of the attendance bylaws, please email me and I'll be happy to talk to you about them. Okay, so moving on to reports. So we have our first set of regular reports this week. The reports are posted on the ASUC Central Drive under the subfolder Official Reports, so they'll be posted prior to every Senate meeting. So most of you did submit reports, but we do have some reports that are missing. I'm missing reports from the EAPP, the Attorney General, the CTO, the two URs, and Senator Rashidi. Okay, so if you have not submitted a report yet, please talk to me offline about it. I'm also going to be extending the deadline for this set of reports to Saturday at midnight. Okay, and I'll be sending out a final reminder to those of you who did not submit a report. So I also recently learned that a lot of people last year didn't really like the structure of last year's reports, and this year's reports have a similar outline and structure. So if you have any suggestions about how we can improve the formatting and the questions, please talk to me about it. I can hear some suggestions now or offline. Essentially, the reports are there to keep you all accountable and to keep an official record of what's being done, but I also want it to be really easy for you all to do. And not take up too much time. And the last thing is, FICOM let me know about No Budget, No Pay Act, and I'm just going to let you know that I'm meeting with the Secretariat and the Chief Financial Officer tomorrow about it, so I'll have updates for you then. Thank you very much.
Questions? Senator Ting?
Oh, you mean on the regular reports for this week? So one of the questions asks if there are any expenditures you have had that week, and you can say none if you didn't, then that's required, okay? And the other question is optional. It's if you want to upload a file image of your office budget. Okay, so I don't think there's any form. It's just whatever you see fit that's accurate. Yeah.
Any other questions? And just as you know, please speak into the mics. Even if they're not working, we'll make sure they work because we are live streaming and they won't be picked up on the camera. Thank you. Shuji.
Okay, thank you guys. Have a great meeting.
So if there are no objections, I would like to bring Chief Finance Officer Sunny Doe to the stage. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Let me just quickly pull up the reports. Awesome. Okay. So with respect to what has been mentioned before, but hasn't been mentioned, I guess hasn't been mentioned. So I've been working on updating all of the applications for student working groups to apply for funding, space reservation funding, as well as tenant contingency funding. All of that should be completed by tonight. The past week I have encountered some technical issues, which has kind of prolonged the whole process. If any student organization or representative has a question, tell them to keep an eye out for emails to access all the applications via Calvin. In addition to that, I'll send an email to all the agents and signatories on Calvin to reinforce the notion that the applications will be open for FlyCom to provide to these student orgs and groups. As Shoja mentioned, I am working with him and Selena to address the provisions listed in the No Budget No Pay Act, and I will provide you all with updates regarding that, as well as communicating what we will be doing to meet those provisions listed in that act for student organizations and groups. My office is coming close to completion with an assessment of CalLodge, namely the performance of CalLodge within the past few years. You should all receive more updates regarding the assessment and the reports on CalLodge fairly soon. That is it.
Questions? Senator Adrianson?
Hey, thanks for coming. I was wondering if there's any updates on the investment portfolio. I was curious, in the news today, coal was divested in the California State Legislature, and the ASUC divested from fossil fuels, I think 2 years ago. I just wondered if there's some way that you could confirm that that is still the case. We could see reports of the investment portfolio.
Okay, sure. To address the first part of your question, so my office is currently working on also providing a report and assessment of the stock portfolio. We're working on a document that contains financial terminologies as a way for you all to be well equipped with all of the words associated with stock endowment funds and investing. To address your second question, so this was discussed among FlyCom for me to hold accountable the representative as well as the managers of the stock portfolio to follow through with the bills that we have passed in the past. So I'm in the making with that. As of right now, we're pretty much trying to list out which bills pertain to divestment, and so I can send it all along the way to the Boston Trust. Sure.
Thank you, Jenny.
Cool. Thank you, everyone.
Moving on to Senate committee reports. First up, we have Governance and Internal Affairs Committee Chair Morrow.
All right, y'all. Report. So last meeting on Monday, we casted unanimous consent and a recommendation to approve Senate Bill 2, the Government Documents Modernization Act that Alec has been working on all summer. In committee, we made some minor amendments. it's Labor Day. We really did not have enough time for our candidates to be interviewed in a fair way for them since the application closed on Friday. So also on that note, we canceled our committee meeting formally for next Monday for the holiday. And we will be having the interviews for the Elections Council Chair position on September 14th. We have 2 candidates, Miri Shin and Grayson Dimmick. And as a committee, we agreed upon a list of uniform questions for both of them, and we'll also have room for questions that come up unique to the situation. And then we are planning a out-of-town retreat with Alec for later in September.
Questions? Moving on to External and University Affairs Committee Chair Gaines.
So we're on there. So we interviewed David Warner, the director of Central Assault Commission. It was a fire interview, really great. We met her a lot. She's on the look. So there's that. We did get to interview the DeKalb director of the commission because short notice. So saying is we're going to wait until 2 weeks, which is fine. We're going to talk about it. Everything's good. And yeah, we canceled our meeting as well because, and then we adjourned our meeting after that. So yeah.
Thank you. Next up, we have Finance Committee Chair Gaines.
Hello, everybody. So, we had a few things that we discussed. We delegated individual roles and responsibilities amongst ourselves. We met with Dennis, last year's CFO, and clarified some questions that we had and the history of FICOM in the past years. We also created committee goals, 3 of them, to re-examine revenue and funding streams of the ASUC, to look into the ASUC's investment portfolio, speaking on Wes's question, looking at past divestments and investments, are they moving forward with Boston Trust, and a comparative analysis between Boston Trust and I believe it's TIAA, the management company in SF, and how we can actually comparatively analyze them. And third, we decided, this is the most important one, to maintain equitable and equal evaluations of criteria for funding allocations to student organizations. We also set funding soft caps of $500 and hard caps of $1,500 as stated in the bylaws. Thank you.
Moving on to the consent calendar. Are there any items that need to be pulled? Senator Tran.
I would support the Government Documents Modernization Act.
Moving back to consent calendar, are there any other items that need to be pulled? The consent calendar passes with unanimous consent. Moving on to immediate consideration, if you could please open up SB2, Government Documents Modernization Act, 2nd, 2015. I'm now going to give the floor to Senator Tran, who pulled the bills. I'm giving the floor to Senator Tran to discuss why the bill is pulled. Or Senator Vicente.
We wanted to discuss the airport security law clause number 2, item 2B. It says to repeal the bylaw 14B2 regarding admission, enrollment, and preparatory education academic senate.
Are there any other comments or discussions from any other senators? Senator Vicente?
Yeah, so based on the criteria, one of the 2 representatives that will sit on this committee has to be for our bridges, so we just want to make sure that representation of enough spaces there.
we have a motion on the table to amend bylaw? Senator Joe?
I move to amend this bylaw.
To do what?
Remove repeal of admissions enrollment and preparatory education actions and committee portion of this bylaw.
The motion on the table is to strike out section 2B of the therefore be resolved clauses. Is there a second? Is there any debate? Senator Morrow?
I was just wondering if we could hear from the Attorney General from that as to why that was originally planned to be repealed.
AG, please.
So I added that to this bill for a large technical reason. Our ASUC Constitution gives exclusive nominating authority to managers academic affairs as president for academic activities, and gives exclusive confirming authority to the Senate. So it's my professional opinion that a bylaw which delegates that authority to a third organization is against the ASUC Constitution, and if that ever came up in a dispute, I think this bylaw would be unconstitutional. So that is why I recommended it being removed. I do think that this is a change that should be made to the Constitution to allow possibly specific appointments, but the way the Constitution is currently written, all appointments have to be nominated by the AACP, and there's no, in my opinion, there's no room for that to be delegated to some other organization. But I don't. But it's up to you all how you want to decide that, and if you do remove this clause, then if there was ever disagreement in the future, it could be a dispute. And then generally, exactly, we're already talking to you, want to make sure that your bylaw also try to override your Constitution and say you know, change the Constitution to make sure that it works. So that's the reason.
Would anyone else like to speak? Senator Prasad?
I'm just posing a question to the floor. If we don't want to vote on something that's unconstitutional, if anyone with authority in this matter can speak to what options are available, so we can have a change that require, and not do anything that's unconstitutional.
Are there any senators that would like to speak that have not yet spoken? Senator Dissenting and Senator Morrow.
Maybe we could look at us and see if we can do that. You know, if like, you know, if the community is like very, if it's serious and like it focuses on maybe subject that focuses on specific communities, then we will change it to organizations have to say that. So, I mean, that's my opinion on that.
Senator Morrow.
Yeah, so the GovCon retreat that we were going to be having in 2 weeks, we were going to be kind of going over what we were planning to do for amendments to bylaws and more specifically amendments to the Constitution. It is important that with these, they're done usually all at once so we can have consistent language. When they get piecemeal is when there's inconsistency. So I'm sure if people would be interested in making a constitutional amendment to that, we can definitely have that brought up during our committee meeting or retreat to form our agenda for amending the Constitution and work laws.
Senator Salinas.
Okay, so the audience stated this earlier, but when you speak in the mic so we can hear, because we're live streaming. Please.
Senator Bates.
So just a point of clarification, I didn't really understand what you were trying to say. Maybe if you can like we say it in like, I don't know, in like easier language to understand?
So basically, nothing conflicts with the Constitution. The Constitution says that AAPP can choose anyone. Well, this says AAPP has to choose the person chosen by the third organization. Solutions-wise, I do think we could keep this currently unconstitutional bylaw and look at it becomes constitutional by the end of next fall, spring semester. If we can put that on the so let it be it's not a verbal solution, but it's a solution. Or you could remove it now and then add it back in after it becomes constitutional. That would be another solution. I do think I would encourage you all, and I'll talk about this when we have time, to just have a bigger discussion about how appointments are made. Because the Constitution does give exclusive nominating power to just one individual. That can be kind of strong, so that's what it's extremely written. There's pros and cons to centralize it in one person versus doing it in a different way. But yeah.
I'm just kind of like, this is more clarification. So like, is it like really like, or I guess it's not constitution, or could it be like arguable because if like the AAPP like basically nominates someone that like Bridges like chooses, is that still like against the Constitution, or is that just like, you know?
No, they're allowed to nominate anyone they want. You just, the way that currently the Constitution is written, you can't require them to nominate someone. Right? There's nominating details that it's their free choice to choose whoever they want, and they'll just send that choice to either accept that person or deny it.
Senator Morrow?
Yeah, this really isn't an opinion or anything, but I was wondering if the Senate Vice Chair could put the bill up on the screen so that people could know what is being talked about.
Senator Paul? So this is like a partial suggestion, but that's like the question. Is it possible that you could just like create an MOU between like Bridges and like AAVP, or?
I mean, you can create an MOU between any two organizations or departments, so that is an option. But would the Constitution, where does that stand between Constitution and MOU?
And we would still have to know the Constitution, which again, I'm fairly sure there will be other things than in the Constitution as we find other minor issues like this. And I mean, last year when we made that bill, it just fixed many little issues in the Constitution. I think it passed with over 90% of the board. So, yeah. And I just want to say, again, I'm coming here from a technical perspective. I don't have actually, my personal opinion is that Bridges should totally be involved in this process, like in choosing that person. But right now, I don't know what our governing documents for that bylaw just doesn't work for us.
Senator Adrianson?
So I totally get why you wanted to take it out in terms of constitutionality, but I do think it's a really important procedure. So to me, it seems like we should keep it in for now, and then maybe move forward with adding it to the Constitution officially so that it's not jeopardized later. If that's done.
Senator Vicente?
How long has this been on just like how long has the requirement for like someone from Bridges to be on this been going on for?
This is the title number, where it says title, is that 31? I believe it was added in the late year before the war.
Senator Dean.
Question/suggestion. What about creating like an ad hoc committee that consults with the AAVP office in regards to making sure that, like, so if they choose a member or a few members from bridges that they believe would be able to represent the AAVP office or any other board member, and then I guess the AAVP doesn't really have to take that into consideration until, does that make sense? Like, they don't really have to take that into consideration, but at least there's like some kind of like consulting that is happening.
So I believe what Attorney General Clevick was saying, mentioning earlier, is that the Constitution, as it's written right now, probably still has problems with it. And so come springtime during elections, we would vote on amending some of the Constitution to either have an ad hoc committee or that's something that GovCon would determine would be best in terms of appointing members to different committees. As it stands right now, we can't amend the Constitution because it's not election season yet and it hasn't passed. That's stuff was amended from GovCon and to the Attorney General.
So to kind of accomplish what your goal was, I would urge you to maybe Senator Andrews' suggestion of keeping it down and saying that if Melissa changes her mind when she wants to vote, raising that 7 months she can, but then after that change in the Constitution, I just want to say sorry for that. I just mean that it's sort of very technical and I think
last comment, Senator Tran.
I appreciate you actually going through the whole constitutional bylaws to try to match it up. I think it's a really good idea that that's how it's having a retreat, and we can like do everything at once. It's really efficient. I just want to emphasize, I do go out with a suggestion and Alexis to strike this bylaw. I will strike the repeal to read and keep the bylaw, because as a coordinator last year in Bridges, there was stuff in AEP that came up that really alarmed some of the representatives who were the Bridges representatives, and despite it was confidential, in that committee, I know it's really important to a lot of the committees recently. And so, even though there's a conflict in the constitutionality, I think we should keep the bylaw and then think about adding it to the Constitution. And honestly, this is a live stream, so in case that it does become a conflict again in the future, the constitutionality will add this conversation.
Are there any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to hand it off to Senate Vice Chair who will handle this part. Attorney General Smith.
Could I move to the next official primary sponsor? So could I move to amend the question that's in there to be to refer overview of what we're seeing in the committee, just to refer that this session to the governance committee. In addition to briefly calls to be so that the motion we can reveal laws to be able to refer the session to the governance committee. So we can do that. We can get rid of this amendment by voting on it. So right now, is there any further debate on the amendment to remove this? If there is no further debate, we can put it to a vote, and you can remove it, and then you guys can do whatever you want to do after that. So as seeing as there is no debate, the question currently is on the adoption of the motion to remove the highlighted text here. So we're going to take a vote on that now. So, all in favor of adopting the amendment to remove this text, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Okay, the ayes have it. This is removed. Now, do we have any other further motions to amend this bill?
the next meeting, and you can move to recommit it to committee if you feel that it needs further amending. Yes, Mr. Quick.
So I was just not to recommit the whole bill, but you can't just recommit a specific topic, which is not the bill, just a specific topic for discussion by itself. And I recommend that you commit the topic of discussing not what it is to be that topic, but just the topic, not the whole thing.
Great. So we have voted on amending this bill by repealing section 2B for the therefore be it resolved clause, and I believe we want to commit a conversation to governance committee regarding this discussion.
Do I have a motion on the table to table this bill until that discussion in committee has been finished? Yes, Senator Rashid.
The governance committee for the discussion for
I'm going to back up a little bit, so because I think that we're all aware of the I believe the point of this conversation is to recommit a part of the conversation of this discussion, not the entire bill. Awesome. Any objections? Okay. Alright, so
Okay. Are there any other motions to amend this bill? Okay, seeing as there are no more motions to amend this bill, we will now take a vote on the bill. So all in favor of passing resolution number 2, please say aye. All opposed say no. The bill passes.
All right, moving on to immediate consideration. We have vote to change Senate meeting times. I wanted to give the floor to open up discussion. We currently start at 7:20 every Wednesday. If you would like to move this time to an earlier time, it must pass by unanimous consent. So I am going to pose a question to start at 7 a.m. and open it up to any other senators to, oh, I'm at 7 p.m. And any senators, do you have any other suggestions or comments or concerns if you have classes, things like that? Senator. Yeah.
So 7 p.m. is what you're saying?
I suggest 7 p.m. Please remember that you need unanimous consent if we're moving before 7:20 p.m. Which is why if you want to go at smaller increments, it's okay. If someone wants to suggest 6 p.m., it has to be unanimous. Any other comments? Senator Gavin?
I'm for 7:20 p.m. Personally, I have a class at 7 p.m.
You said it ends at 7? It ends at 7?
Yeah, sorry, it ends at 7. 2:45.
Discussion over.
We will be keeping our Senate meeting times at 7:20 p.m. We will bring back this conversation in the spring semester at the start. The next order of business is meeting with Vice Chancellor Wilton. So, Vice Chancellor, we have a meeting set up for the executives and senators on September 18th from 12:30 to 1:30. I need a show of hands, and you can definitely pull out your phones to check your calendars now of who can attend. We need an exact head count and names of all the people that need to be approved to come into California Hall. I can also take questions. Senator Rizal.
Could you repeat the time?
September 18th, 12:30 to 1:30. It is a Friday. PM. Senator Wynn. Vice Chancellor Wilton. Senator Vicente.
Maybe you can say why it's
So So Vice Chancellor Wilton was invited to present at SLI as well as invited to present at ULI, and he decided that instead of going to two different trainings, that he wanted to meet all of you together. Of course, we did mention that it's highly unlikely that we'll ever get 20 of you all together, one room and all 5 execs. However, that is the way he wanted to schedule it, and the only day that he's available to do this is on September 18th. Vice Chancellor of Administration and Finance. Senator Cho?
Do you know if there's a specific agenda or topic for this meeting, other than he wants to meet us?
Sure. So I believe I'm not sure if it's so much that he wants to meet you, more so that I emailed him, and so did Joan Ida, that was helping put together ULI. And in terms of the agenda, so that's something that I will be discussing along with probably Urdanis or someone with the Vice Chancellor's Chief Assistant. And so that agenda hasn't been set yet, but it will be set probably in the next couple of days. This is also an opportunity. This is also an opportunity for you all to suggest any topics that you would like to choose. From my perspective, similar to how any of the other Vice Chancellors came into SLI, we asked them to get an overview of what their office was doing, what are some of the goals that they're working on, and if you have specific questions about what maybe they've been working on over the year that you are confused about, you can ask us as well. Yes, you're not.
Send talking points to Joan Ida.
Let's go ahead and send the talking points to me and I will forward all of that to Joan Ida. By tonight or tomorrow. Senator Prasad.
I just want to talk is general knowledge that the Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance. So that's the general topics.
Senator Adrianson?
Yeah, you promised to invite us on decal.
I can definitely invite you, but I do need the head count today. Of course, if anything changes before Friday, I can change that. I can add you to the list if you realize you can't attend. You're done. Do you have another question or comment?
No, I just want to say raise your hand high.
Yes.
So we don't go to your
All right. Please raise your hand if you can attend the meeting on September 18th from 12:30 to 1:30 in California Hall. Senator Morrow, Senator Dean, Senator Paul, put your hand down. Senator Schuster, Senator Prasad, Senator Kim, Senator Salinas, Senator Yade, Senator Bates, Senator Vicente, Senator Tang, Adrianson, Senator Brooms. Awesome. I do apologize. I know this is inconvenient, especially for those of you that have class. I had class during that time. And so recognize that we really did try our best to bring in Vice Chancellor Wilton to SLI so that all 20 of you could be in that location. Again, we can't bring in every administrator in the Senate, and so we might oftentimes have these situations where only some of us can attend. This is why I just want to stress the importance of all of 20 of you communicating with one another. Just because someone can't go doesn't mean that they shouldn't know what happens in that meeting or their questions shouldn't be brought up. Any other questions about this? Awesome. Moving on, we are going into new business. So first up we have Senate Bill 3, a resolution in support of the ASUC Solar Commission. I will be sending that to XCOM as well as to GovCom. It will go GovCom. The nomination for Megan Warner as the ASUC Sexual Assault Commission Director will move to the consent calendar for next week. It is a one-week processing system. And any new nominations? I don't believe we had any other nominations from any committees, correct? Okay, so that will go to new business in 2 weeks after everyone is interviewed. Moving on, yes, Senator Bates.
I was just wondering where the application is going to be publicized. Why not so low?
So the application was publicized via the ASUC Facebook page as well as the ASUC webpage as well publicized to you all, and that was it. So in terms of putting out the application, my office released it. It was up to others to publicize.
And the applications are already passed through there.
The application deadline has closed.
So you can't nominate anyone else.
If there is discussion to open up applications and nominations, we can definitely hear that discussion right now, and we have the option of reopening it because no one has been officially nominated or approved.
So do I need to do that?
Alex is making that.
Someone else. Very bad news. No, you cannot. Also,
So you can reopen, you can ask the money to reopen them right now on the next reopen them. I would advise to have approach the situation quickly because so the decal board used to be an independent organization and they were brought in into the ASUC last semester as a commission for to increase mutual collaboration and whatnot. But by that time they had already elected their president for the next year, and that is the individual who applied name specifically. So this is someone who that whole group of people kind of expects to be their head already. And I really do want to support this
Senator Grant. It's less about the decal and more about sexual assault. So if we open up for all, or we can just do sexual assault. I mean, I'm not.
If you want, yeah, you could, with sexual assault, I believe they chose someone explicitly as their head last year. That's my understanding. And if you did want to reopen it, you have to withdraw this nomination and then reopen it.
Okay. Last night I was a print-out sheet. Okay, so my concern is that only one person applied to each commission, and my suggestion that no one else applied, that this wasn't like publicized like that. So I want to open it up for like 2 more weeks and do a little bit more plug, so that it can be, there and stuff. And yeah, that is my suggestion and my concerns.
Senator Paul? Yeah, just to follow up on what you was proposing, I agree that we do that because since the applications were released over the summer and everything like that, I know a lot of people use their Facebook only for school organizations and that sort of thing. And also, I feel like if we, I don't know if we were all looking at like, so we look at these like application releases, and I'm sure we could do a really good job at like sharing them on Facebook and sharing them with our constituents. Senator Prasad?
What would be the delay in business in these specific commissions if we didn't appoint someone in the next couple of weeks?
So without a director being appointed to the commission, they can't come in.
In practice, both of these, I'm not sure about the sexual assault commission, but in practice, I know the decal board is operating. I saw the meeting today, and I'm fairly sure that they have this person as their leader. I want to provide some context is that commissions do get to choose internally their head usually, and they're supposed to make that choice in the spring semester. But because this process was new last year, EVP-Con never contacted them in the spring last semester. So they ended up internally, at least decal, they ended up internally choosing their own leader, and they've been using that person as their head of their body.
So what I was just mentioning to Alec is because we work on a reimbursement system, they would not be able to start processing their reimbursement until the director was appointed. Senator Burns.
Yeah, my concern with leaving the applications open, like perhaps Alex comment, I think, or response comment. I know at least for the sexual assault commission, like their funds are frozen, and I know that the health board is like tabling and stuff, and that the sexual assault commission has sent out applications for like membership. But my worry is that they won't be able to put on like the events they already planned, like the retreat scheduled in September. I don't know what their like internal logistics are for that, but I'm worried that if we keep pushing, I like the concerns are valid, and like I definitely agree, but I'm just worried that if we keep pushing it off, they won't be able to continue to work. I don't know how their internal systems work though.
Senator Paul? So I can only speak, I mean, not really like for the commission, but like a little bit so. I actually was the person who like reserved the spaces for the retreat, so I don't see that being jeopardized by like that losing, or by like being stalled for 2 weeks. In addition to that, I just want to like say that like this work is definitely like going to still be done. It's like all sexual violence prevention and like survivor advocacy doesn't like start and end with like the commission. And I think it's really important that for like the sake of institutional memory, it's really important that we're making sure that the people, that our applicant pool is really like inclusive and diverse.
Senator Burns. So then following up with that, how does the fact that the commission stay anonymous, so they already selected their director, like should we respect that, or is it okay for us to keep like okay, you kind of get what I'm asking, like do they already select her?
So that's really complicated. Yeah, it's really complicated to be like transparent. So towards like the end of spring semester, it's kind of like where's the commission going for a year from here? Like what is like the structure going to look like? And that was something that was also like still an evolving discussion. So I think because it is this time of like change that's going on, I think the commission is prepared to like be in this like time period of like changing.
Senator Choi.
No.
Senator.
And also like during I was gonna say during like the interview, when we interviewed her, like if you remember her saying that it was going through a lot of transitions and a lot of people at the time dropped off. So I do think like open up the application would be really good to like expand and grow the inclusivity of the commission, just because like if they're already going through transitional stuff, you don't want to keep it like the same like how it was before where everybody kind of just quit, stuff like that. So like that kind of worried me, and that's kind of what brought me to the decision that we probably should like open it up, especially because she was the only one to apply. But I think she's cool with just saying in terms of life, like I think we should be more inclusive. And yeah, it's like personal experience, I think. Yeah.
Senator Choi.
Yeah, I obviously can't speak on behalf of the commission either, but given the dynamic last year, I think that it's good that it's still open to make it more inclusive. I think that that's really necessary if the commission is going to succeed in their goals for this upcoming year and to survive as a commission. Also, the commission was overworked a lot last year, and a lot of the sexual assault issues were placed on the hands of very few people within the commission. So I think that in order for like the sexual, like Sheena said, the work needs to be done outside the commission too, because they're being overworked.
Last couple of comments, Senator Prasad.
Thank you. So definitely open to the idea of opening the application up for the next 2 weeks. However, is there any procedural motion in which we can appoint an intern head so that the workings of this office continue? And also, the second question is, well, if we extend the application deadline for 2 weeks, we also have to take time to review the applications and officially confirm who the nominee is. So what is the entire timeline for having a new
So your second question is if you extend the deadline by 2 weeks, it's the same as all the committees. It would have to go to committee, they would have to review the applications, interview, and then it would be sent to Senate, which would then go to new business, which would then go to consent calendar. So it's about a 2-week process, 2 to 3 week process. So you're looking at about a month extension. And in terms of interim director, is there a process for that?
What we do is just ask the very documents upon provide you with the interim officer. We could reject, we could go by petition, reject them.
Any other questions? So Senator Banks, as the ex-com director, you're the one that put the nomination forward for Megan Warner for the ASUC Sexual Assault Commission director. You have the option to maintain that nomination or withdraw it.
I withdraw the nomination.
You'd have to make a motion to withdraw.
I motion to withdraw the nomination for Megan Warner as the ASUC Sexual Assault Commission director.
Second. Are there any objections? The withdrawal of the nomination of Megan Warner of the ASUC Sexual Assault Commission director passes with unanimous consent. Moving on, is there any conversation that would like to be had about appointing an interim director, just so that I know? Senator Adrianson.
I have a question for the folks who've been involved in the commission. Do you think it needs an interim director to keep doing work?
Okay, so thinking of like how the commission worked last year, because maybe this is like half an answer, half like clarification. So, is it an estimate that like opening up this application makes like our next nomination, is that how, like, what's that delay like? Is that like 2 weeks? Is that by like a month?
We'll have something for about 5 weeks.
Okay. So, our main project that we had within the first 5 weeks was like the clothesline project that talked about like domestic violence and everything like that. We already are, I know the commission is already not able to do that project because there's a location issue type of thing. It used to be right there Fountain. So that was like the main project. I think I want to open it up to like all senators, but especially the other senators that are also working on like sexual violence prevention and like survivor advocacy. Since like yes, I was on the commission, and so like I worked through the commission. I didn't necessarily like work with the commission, so I know other people have experience like align with them on like issues of consent and whatnot. And kind of maybe if you did work with them like the first 5 weeks, or if you didn't, like do you think it's like important for them to have like an interim? And then again, just to answer Wesley's question, I think in the first 5 weeks also a lot of the focus is on like peer-to-peer education, mainly done by like CASA. But a lot of CASA members are on the commission, so like they're still going to be like carrying out with that, and we're still going to like be talking on what that progress is.
Is there a response? Senator Prasad?
Sorry, I'm not as knowledgeable in the executive leadership of the Sexual Assault Commission. Could someone tell us who was the head of the sexual assault? Like, who was the executive, like, committee executive sexual assault commission?
Senator Bolt. So the chair was Megan Warner last year. And then other than that, it was kind of like everyone else was just like a member at large. And that's what was the discussion for like the transition period, is like what's like an executive board gonna look like, and like that sort of thing.
Senator Bruce?
So would Megan Warner be the choice for the interim director then? Is that kind of what we're doing? I don't know what you're, sorry, Mr. Was that a no? You just move around.
Senator Bates?
I was just wondering if some of the senators who brought brought forward this concern could bring up what type of individual they would like to fill this role, or who should Lavani reach out to?
Senator Banks and then Senator Williams.
Okay, so I was thinking more like we can do like code, Sheila, code, Megan. Just because that's inclusive, and then from there we can, in the 5 months, or not 5 months, over that 5 weeks, we can find that person. But for now, like code, Megan, code, Sheila, it's not work.
Alex says there's no such thing as a co-director.
All right, we're gonna just Sheila.
Senator Vicente has not spoken yet.
If you did want to do that, for example, I would suggest that you appoint, that Lavani appoints Senator Paul as the director, and then interim Chair Paul appoints Megan Warner as the assistant director, for example. If you want them to both have be like directors to each other, with like a framework, you always need one person to have to be the responsible individual who like has the final signature on this.
Follow-up, Senator Williams?
No,
Okay.
I was going to address
Senator Prasad?
Sorry. It was from my understanding, Megan Warren's nomination passed ExCom unanimous consent. Were any of these concerns brought up to Megan during the conversation? And if so, why did it pass ExCom unanimous consent for the nomination?
Senator Banks?
So, like I said before, she was the only one that applied, right? So, this is like, people came to me afterwards, and we did have like individual things that we talked about during the XCOM. But like, the fear of like having all their stuff halted, like we weren't knowledgeable enough to know that they can wait like 5 weeks to like get more publicity. So like, it was just like, okay, she's the only one that applied kind of thing. We have to hurry up and pass this so that they can have all their stuff, But now we acknowledge that they can wait 5 weeks and then there's options to that internally and things like that. Inclusive. Like one of the questions that we put on our actual interview questions is like how y'all going to address the inclusivity problem. So this is a big problem for us that we already presented, we already talked about in XCOM. So now that we know that there's other options, we're like, okay, let's make this happen, let's do this right. So just because we put that motion in nomination in, don't mean we can't go back and do this right now.
Senator Cho?
Yeah, so I like the idea of what Boomer said about the co-director, not just because for inclusivity reasons, but also because Megan's been working really hard on this issue for the past 4 years and has a lot of knowledge about it. So I think it's really important that she is still in a position of being some sort of director because she just knows so much and knows a lot of people as well. But I think that if there's a way that we can change the bylaws to make a co-director position, that would be really valuable. Also because, like I said, Megan and the commission have been working really, really hard on a lot of things. So a co-director can help level out them on work and work on different projects instead of just doing policy or just doing awareness or just doing events.
Senator Yave?
Just to put in another possible option, is it possible to consult first the sexual assault commission to see what they want to do? Or I would also want to hear what folks' ideas on that.
Senator Paul, just in reference to Senator Yave's question, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, in terms of anyone else that sits on the Sexual Assault Commission, would that be possible? Is there a centralized group that we could consult with?
So that is possible. My only concern is, so again, because of this transition period, they were basically like experimenting with like having a court. So I don't know what like the application results of that are like at this moment. But I'm like 90% sure those were all returning people. Obviously, like stepping up to be board members of that, so I think it would be possible.
My suggestion to all of you is because the nomination was already pulled, and so there's no nomination going forward for the Sexual Assault Commission is that you appoint an interim director, or I appoint an interim director as soon as possible, just so that they can start processing things, and in the meanwhile, also going through that application process. Senator Chubb.
In regard to Ben's question, I think that if we want to make the commission more inclusive, we should be asking folks outside of the commission, just because if we want to make it more inclusive, then just limiting like what the commission things might not make it inclusive.
Senator Banks.
Very, okay, another thing is like, if I really want this to be, so this issue is really important to me, right? And I really want this to be as inclusive as possible, and it wasn't that first, right? So, with that being said, this is why this is really important to me, that this process is really fair, and that we're reaching out to folks of color. So, moving forward, I think that we should really think about, like, how we make this inclusive, i.e. reaching out to people of color, that are actually people of color, that are people of color communities, that we work in people of color, that also know what it feels like to be a person of color.
Senator Laura.
I'm just wondering if anyone has talked to Megan between the ex-con meeting and now, or we plan to talk to her after this to see if this would potentially be something where she would be willing to step or take out her application, so to make room for this or whatnot.
I believe that her application has already gone through, so it's not that it's up to XCOM if they want to re-interview her, but the nomination was just withdrawn. So they could go through the application again. Senator Biggs.
Just to clarify though, it's not that I don't want her to be the director. I just want to make sure that that is a fair process. So if folks of color actually want to do it, they don't feel pressured by Megan not to do it. So like, I'm cool with her doing it. Like, I'm not even fighting the motion. I'm just saying.
Senator Purcell.
Sorry, just seems I'm getting the confused way with the conversation evolving. Just to clarify, I thought we were related to rest for an extend the application because we decided to withdraw the nomination. Now the question is, if we're going to have an interim director, just clarifying that for everyone. So the question of inclusivity is kind of confusing me because we've already decided to extend the application deadline to get this to the application process. Now we're just deciding who's the interim director.
So are there any comments about having an interim director, any suggestions, or any requests to me about this process? Senator Salinas.
So now it's our responsibility to advertise this and publicize this as much as possible. So us as senators should be accountable to that.
Can you repeat that, Senator Salinas?
So now us as senators should be accountable in terms of publicizing the applications. Yep. That's about it.
I'm going to clarify a couple of things as Alec and we're discussing. I apologize, Senator Salinas. So according to Section 3 for vacancies of commissions, the president and the executive vice president have the power or joint consent to appoint an interim director. And that can be petitioned by the Senate by 1/3 vote. So, what I would like to hear from all of you is your suggestions for an interim director so that Jordanis and I can appoint that interim director. Questions about that line first. All right, Senator D.
I nominate Senator Paul to be the interim director until we find an actual director for the Sexual Assault Commission.
Senator Prasad.
This is just a point of clarification. Can you put a conflicting motion in play, or are we just debating it?
It's not a motion. It would be a suggestion to myself and Jordanis.
Actually, I moved to table this discussion until next Senate meeting until someone has until we
You can definitely make that motion to table it, but Adonis and I will appoint an interim director. Any other questions? We have a motion on the table to table this conversation to the next Senate meeting. Do we have a second?
I second.
Any objections? We'll be tabling this meeting to the next Senate by unanimous consent. Moving on to our Senate recess, we will now be moving into the Select Committee on the Advocacy agenda. So I will be now taking a recess from this committee and passing it on to the chair of the Select Committee on the Advocacy agenda, Senator Bates.
If you need your laptop, pull out your laptops. Now let's try to make this low key fast. Like tired stuff. Is the advocacy agenda on the social yard? Isn't it?
I don't think it's ever been introduced formally.
Can you email the planning doc to keep emailing? You know, I can find it. Yeah. Okay, how about this? Committees, did everybody finish their committee obligations? Everybody? We did, so we did. Our committee did. How about safe spaces? Did y'all finish your obligations? Y'all did? And then did y'all finish? Good? I just want to know if everybody finished. Y'all looking at y'all did. Yeah, do whatever you need to do right now. Laptops, move around, be great. Come on, people. Can everybody move into their committees or Can you email it to my shirt? Is that possible? Did you read it?
Do you want a cupcake? No, I'm okay.
There's money to be made, people. This is not a break. Okay, I got you. It's gonna be faster than that. To be honest.
I don't say it much.
Alright, everyone. Everyone pay attention now. It's time to pay attention. Does anyone have a mic? I know. Y'all said it's just hurt my feelings. I don't care about me. I'm hurt. I'm leaving. Okay. I'm calling this meeting to order at 9:48 p.m.
You're pretty quiet right now.
Yeah. I thought I was okay. Thanks, Wes. Wes is a little like everyone. But yeah, I'm calling to order right now. Hey y'all, can y'all while we're trying to do so we can go. Please. Alright. Here it is. It's fine.
What has and I wanted to I know that I thought it was like how do you like
Alright, so we're gonna go over the timeline real quick. So today is the second, right? So I sent out an email to everyone, to all the committees about like possible co-sponsorships or sponsorships. Carpet's the one that email weeks. So I need each committee tonight or at the end of this meeting to like look through y'all parts of the bill and like figure out what part do y'all want to collab with us on. Does that make sense? Yes. I got it? Cool? Okay, cool. So that should happen by tonight. And the faster y'all send it to me, the faster I can send it to execs. And I got your card. Also, it says that we're going to troubleshoot. So we have to troubleshoot. So, I mean, honestly, y'all, like, it sounds like this is a wrap for tonight. Action items, like, y'all wanna just like look through them. So can we hear from each committee about like how the committee's doing and next steps, starting with my committee or the board? Oh, hey. Hey, everybody.
Thank you. So we haven't really made any major changes to what we had last week, but we wanted to get input on what we want to if you have anything specifically that you want us to make sure that exec sponsor, please let us know.
Hey man, so we updated ours with like short-term and long-term goals like you asked, so it's like ready to go. I just want to clarify, when you ask like exec for sponsorship, can you just co-sponsor the whole bill? Yeah, like, are you referring to us asking them like if they want to elaborate?
Yeah.
Okay,
so sorry.
Require like long meetings and on big platforms. I was thinking maybe we just like send them that speaker that's old, and then we can set up individual meetings to talk about that later.
We got unanimous snaps, so I can implement that. Also though, I think that like if y'all have, I think this was a push. I thought this was a push for like if you have specific platforms that go along with the execs that you need to contact them early in the semester, which is like tomorrow. So that's cool too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with all that. Everybody should be reaching out to the execs for something specific. But for the sake of the advocacy agenda and the like formality of co-sponsorship, they don't co-sponsor just a part of it or an idea of it. They co-sponsor the whole bill, or they don't co-sponsor it.
Yeah.
So I think the conversations about working with exec on specific things should be done in specific conversations that individuals have or groups have with GSAC, and it's not something that is meant for the sake of the advocacy done for each individual item, because I'm sure our execs are already busy enough that full details. They could talk to all 20 of us multiple times in the next week.
Yeah, no, cool. I'm down with that. So yeah.
So we're pretty much done with our part. We really have to plan for the most function. So if all of us will share if there's a problem and you want to send us.
Awesome. Okay, so moving forward, it looks like we're going to troubleshoot. So troubleshoot looks like folks actually looking through the bill, right? Like not just your committee, but like all of it, and like seeing if you can add anything. And we have a request to go through the structure one time so that we can start adding everything to our actual bill. So. Okay, so here's the formatting. So we have the start chapter, right? This is what you want to start with. The structure. Okay.
Okay, so I think that's pretty cool to me. Yeah, equity and healthy and something things we see up there.
Okay.
But
You want to speak a little bit to the format you're talking about?
so it seems like right above this one, number one needs to go in. Right there is a word here. So I can see for a rare copy right there around that. And then
Alright, cool. Do you have any questions about the formatting or copy and pasting? I know. Oh, this is the same. Alright, cool. So I think we can wrap this up now. So, can I borrow yours? Ready? Yeah, your class. Speaking to the mic and ready.
Okay. So I was telling a couple of editors. So clear of how and what
Oh, wellness awareness. Okay. But if you don't I actually didn't hear it because it was kind of low. Sorry. One more time.
Sure. Would it be better if we had a separate document that had our specific expectations of what we want, how the ASUC will carry out our advocacy agenda, and instead of cluttering the advocacy agenda with very specific things on the issue less brought up in the beginning?
Yeah, like I feel like you could write a specific bill.
So, go ahead, you have a director.
Yeah, so I think it was something very specific. Like it was an issue on wellness, and we want OP or whatever else to do the agency to charge. That's when we go as in the bill, and then we have it here, whereas autism is therefore we resolve and we charge food set on us. For advocacy, I would say keep it broad enough where everyone can feel that they have ability to add to it and address it. But it's specific to us, so we think that some of the parts of advocacy that you all agree are important to us or highlight even within advocacy, like this is a general thing that we work on or whatever. So we have a rough understanding, and also how we should look at that we should try it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I think, oh, go ahead. Yeah. I like that. Do anybody have any objections to that? Did everybody hear that? Yeah. So, you want to repeat it?
So last year's Senate had both a vision statement and a mission statement, and it's a little unnecessary. So we're thinking of taking out vision statement and leaving the mission statement, and the mission statement just writing why we have an access agenda and what we're doing.
No shade to the oaks and the leaves of the Hello, shade. Okay, I like it. Any objections or any like amendments or no? I can just keep language. Do anybody no objections? Cool. So we're gonna do that, I guess. Cool. I like it. Nobody's objecting. Yeah, I was blankly staring. All right, cool. So I think to move forward. Is there any other objections to anything or any other comments? Yes? What? No. Okay. Cool. I think to that point, like, the reason why we're not as specific is we are specific because it's our platform, you know? So we're like, we know exactly what we need because it's our platform. So like, everybody's like, oh, we're going to do this for sure. This is all our platform.
Currently, there are none of the whereas and therefore the resolve clauses have read and read currently alive to the exact official to anything specific right now in this advocacy agenda. So we're avoiding that problem happening. Now, and then what to clarify what Wes was saying, I think, is that when you do want them to do a specific thing, that's to make a separate bill separate from the advocacy agenda.
So, okay, so next steps, we're moving forward. And so next steps, can you go to the timeline? I don't know this. Yeah, timeline. So timeline is to troubleshoot and to send this to, I'm going to send this to execs tomorrow. So hopefully everybody copies and pastes tonight. Is that doable? Oh, yeah, copy and paste. All right, cool. Peace, fam. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna send it to the execs, get a co-sponsorship. Hopefully, unless they hate us. I don't think they hate us. And then yeah. So is that good? Can we adjourn? Go team, go! Oh wait, Ben, JK. Ben has something.
Once they respond to them, we can send the bill to the committee.
After we troubleshoot. Alright, do y'all imagine troubleshooting not being in, what do y'all imagine? I don't know.
I think the troubleshooting will be a thing. I think there's going to be about 2 weeks for it.
Alright, cool. So next Senate meeting, we'll reconvene, and if it's super cute, then we will send it. And if it's not cute, we're not going to send it. So, okay. Okay, I'm going to adjourn, unless somebody stops me. I'm going to do it. I adjourn this meeting at 10:04.
Senators, please take a seat. I reconvene this meeting at 10:04 p.m. on Wednesday, September 2nd. Financial roll call: Anshul Chugh, Alicia Lau, Benedict Galvin, Fatima Salinas, Grace Ho Jung Kim, Karthik Prasad, Rachel Schuster, Sheena Paul, Ruth Mayadeen, Will Morrow, A.B., Andre Liu, Boomer Vicente, Diana Nguyen, Jason Tane, Kathy Tran, Ria Cho, Sina Rashidi, Wes Adrianson, Zoe Burns. Thank you. Moving on to announcements. We will go ahead and start with Senator Burns today.
The announcements is over, and I would just like to give a shout out to our brand new Greek senator in the house. Hashtag am I right? She's actually decent because she was like a possums, but welcome her. She's being very loved today.
Hey everyone, a lot of new announcements. We're going to be editing the solar commission to the solar committee, which is really exciting and kind of stuff. And also, thanks everybody who signed that SP350 thing. Really important. It's online. We're hoping to treat a picture of all the senators, and so I was thinking we could all get together and take a picture. We already have so many cute pictures of us. Is it okay if I just use a couple of us? Okay, great.
No real announcements. Senator Prasad and I are putting on our pre-health fair on September 15th from 11:30 to 2:30. This is not just limited to pre-health club, but organizations in the mental health field or anyone working with health on campus. So if you know any clubs, tell them to contact us. We love them. We already have 15 clubs, and we're just trying to see if anything we can get. It'll be in front of